Chapter 109, Zootui's Condition 2. Is it about toast art? Yes. Zootui took out a few bottles of Level E energy restoration elixirs that he had prepared beforehand and waved them at Professor Luo. Professor Luo, I need to consume these. Does this count as the start of our research? Can these be reimbursed when the time comes? Luo Shifeng looked at the serious Zutun and suddenly understood. Zootui had not asked him if he had any rewards today out of curiosity. He really wanted to obtain his reward. He wanted to win a few more bottles of Level E energy restoration elixirs from him. Luo Shifeng did not want to live a simple life like the previous week. Of course, the rewards in class were out of his own pocket. It was different for research, especially after he obtained results from his research. If you can prove all of this later and I start this research topic with you, then all of your expenses during the research can be reimbursed. There will be even more rewards if the research is successful. Luo Shifeng made it clear. Alright, Professor Luo, I'll drink as much as I want. Zootui, who had consumed a Level E energy restoration elixir, sat cross-legged on the ground again and entered a state of sleep like he did during the previous lesson. This should be a unique training method of the School of Enlightened Mind. Luo Shifeng felt a little embarrassed. Fortunately, he did not succeed in criticizing Zootui for sleeping in front of everyone. Otherwise, he would have made a fool of himself. How could a professor like him think that the special training method of other students was sleeping? It would be strange if people did not laugh at him if this got out. From this moment on, Luo Shifeng started to believe that what Zootui said was true. Zootui would naturally not activate the two reaction-type genetic base points that had not been discovered by the outside world. There would be no way to research it if he activated it directly. What Zootui activated now was the third reaction-type genetic base point located above his spine. The speed of his reflexes was also a genetic ability. However, no genetic ability chain was formed. That meant that he could activate either one first. It would enhance his reflexes to a certain extent. Thus, they did not have the characteristics of the load of genetic base points on the genetic ability chain. In the genetic ability chain, the lower the rank of the genetic base points, the harder it was to activate them. Zootui only spent an hour and 15 minutes, consumed 2 bottles of Level E energy restoration elixirs, and successfully activated his third reaction-type genetic base point. Luo Shifeng immediately returned to the office when he saw Zootui stand up from his sleep. You activated it already? Zootui nodded. That fast? After realizing that his question was useless, Professor Luo Shifeng casually pointed at the training device. Let's test it out first. It's intuitive. Alright, Zootui walked toward the 24-headed hybrid laser array transmitter without hesitation. He tapped on the button and started the machine. The training results were released 3 minutes later. Luo Shifeng snatched over the report card before Zootui could look at it. The 23-millisecond mark on the training report was exceptionally glaring to Luo Shifeng. The increase was not large. It was only 25 milliseconds. However, as a professor from the School of Neurology, Luo Shifeng knew that very well. When a person's reaction speed was raised to less than 50 milliseconds, they had to go through a long period of training to enhance their reaction speed every millisecond. It was the same even if they were administered with a nerve acceleration elixir. Under normal circumstances, a person's reaction speed would increase by more than 10 milliseconds. Within a short time only after they activated a new genetic base point related to reflexes. In other words, Zootui had proven himself. I need an average score that is more scientifically meaningful. You can train 9 more times, Luo Shifeng said. This time, Luo Shifeng did not leave. Instead, he stayed in his teacher's office and watched as Zootui went through his training. He started to take notes as he trained. 30 minutes later, Luo Shifeng looked at his average score. His lips were tightly pursed, but his eyes were filled with surprise. The average reflexes are 21.4 milliseconds, while the best reflexes are 21 milliseconds. Zootui's optimal reaction speed was 21 milliseconds. That was the sustained enhancement effect of activating a new reaction-type genetic base point. After he finished reading the report card, Luo Shifeng looked at Zhu Tui and said, "Zhu Tui, you have already proven your theory. At the same time, you have also convinced me. If you have no objections, we can begin to discuss this research project further." Luo Shifeng did not drag things out at all. "First, you have to tell me where in your body are the completely new reaction-type genetic base points you discovered?" Luo Shifeng, who had entered a meditative state, asked. "The head," Zhu Tui answered. Luo Shifeng nodded. "More than a decade ago, a researcher from the School of Neurology published a conjecture regarding reaction-type genetic base points. According to the current research progress, if we can still discover new genetic base points related to reflexes, then there's a high chance that these new genetic base points are in the head." After a pause, Luo Shifeng suddenly asked, "You've read about this conjecture?" Zhu Tui shook his head. "It's my first time hearing it." Luo Shifeng looked at Zhu Tui in a daze. He suddenly laughed. "That's right. Even professors like us have not read many of those extremely professional conjectures." While he was laughing, Luo Shifeng suddenly extended his hand toward Zhu Tui. "Let us get to know each other again. My name is Luo Shifeng, and I am the chairman of the School of Neurology at the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College. I am also the team leader of the research group that is going to explore a brand new set of reaction-type genetic base points. Welcome to the research project team." Zhu Tui did not shake Luo Shifeng's outstretched hand. The moment he did, the cooperation would begin. He would benefit greatly regardless of whether or not he could obtain any results. However, he had to clarify some things in advance. "Professor Luo, I have a condition." "Tell me, I knew you had conditions." Luo Shifeng could tell from the start that Zhu Tui was deliberately displaying his abilities to him to seek the possibility of a collaboration with him. Under normal circumstances, Zhu Tui could have secretly activated the ability himself. He did not have to experiment on himself. He most likely had an additional goal. "I have no problems joining this research. However, if there are any results, I want to be the first researcher or be juxtaposed with the first researcher. Furthermore, I am an intern researcher at the Wuxia Genetic Research Institute number 14, Zhu Tui said. Luo Shifeng furrowed his brows slightly when he heard that. He had no problems regarding the matter of the first researcher. He had this bit of integrity. However, there was a problem with Zhu Tui's status in this research. "Are you sure? If you do that, more of the benefits and glory would belong to the Research Institute number 14, not you. You are merely an intern researcher at the Research Institute number 14. With respect, the benefits you can obtain from this should be very little," Luo Shifeng said. The corner of Zhu Tui's lips twitched when he heard this. He laughed. "Professor Luo, I think you still don't know. In our Research Institute number 14, only Professor and Zhao Saxui and I are left. 2 people, Research Institute number 14, and Zhao Saxui." "Oh, I remember now." Luo Shifeng seemed to have thought of something and nodded. "You have no problems with that, right?" "No problem," Luo Shifeng agreed. "Professor Luo, I hope that these promises can be implemented onto paper or documents in a legal sense," Zhu Tui added. Luo Shifeng, who had wanted to say something, rubbed his forehead. His head hurt. The little guy in front of him should not have been through the harsh beatings of society. Why was he so scheming? He was even more careful than him. He was doubting a great professor like him. It was too much. He had to teach the lad a lesson if he had the chance in the future. He actually dared to suspect a professor like him. "No problem. Well, sign the agreement immediately." Luo Shifeng cursed inwardly, but he quickly agreed.